The Formula One world is in shock. Toto Wolff, the architect of Lewis Hamilton's greatest triumphs at Mercedes, has dropped a statement so explosive it's left even die-hard Ferrari fans speechless. Did Hamilton gamble away his legacy by swapping silver for red? Or is this just the calm before an epic comeback? In this video, we'll unpack the truth behind the headlines, reveal what's really happening inside Maranello, and show you why the next 2 seasons could rewrite history. Buckle up, hit like, and stay with us until the end. For nearly a decade, Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes were inseparable. 7 world titles, record-breaking wins, and a team built around his instincts made him the reference point for an entire generation. Yet behind the trophies, frustration was bubbling. The bold zero-pod concept had left the car unpredictable and uncompetitive. The silver arrows were short of answers, and Hamilton, used to fighting at the front, found himself stuck in a cycle of reinvention. He longed for change, for a fresh environment, and for a new challenge that could reignite his passion for racing. Ferrari arrived at exactly the right moment. A massive contract, the emotional pull of the famous red car, and the chance to end a title drought approaching 2 decades were all on offer. For a driver who thrives on legacy, the idea of becoming the man who restored the Scuderia was irresistible. Toto Wolff himself admitted the deal looked perfect on paper. Every driver dreams of wearing red, and Hamilton had always been drawn to the aura of Ferrari. Yet 16 races into his Ferrari career, the dream has yet to deliver. No podiums, no wins. None of the momentum fans were promised when Hamilton swapped silver for red. Wolff's comparison was cutting, likening Hamilton's chapter at Ferrari to Michael Schumacher's underwhelming Mercedes comeback in 2010. A legend stranded in machinery that could not match his talent. For a 7-time world champion, this is uncharted territory. Toto Wolff's latest comments tore off the plaster Ferrari wanted to keep on. He said the reasons Hamilton left Mercedes were valid, but the problems haven't disappeared. Instead, Hamilton may have traded known frustrations for an even harsher reality. At Mercedes, even with a flawed car, he was the cornerstone. The team revolved around him. At Ferrari, he's still finding his place. The SF25 feels alien. He's been forced to adjust his natural style, braking later and harder than he wants, sacrificing the flow that's always defined his driving. The sting of Wolff's words isn't just criticism, it's a warning. Hamilton may have jumped too soon. Mercedes are already laying the foundations for the 2026 regulations. Formula One's biggest reset in years, while Ferrari's vision looks fragile. Their key staff departing one by one. For Hamilton, who placed his faith in Maranello's long-term plan, it's a nightmare scenario. The question now is whether the boldest move of his career will be remembered as a masterstroke or a misstep. Inside Maranello, engineers have been poring over Hamilton's telemetry. What they've found explains why a 7-time world champion sometimes looks like a man wrestling his car rather than dancing with it. Hamilton built his career on an almost telepathic connection with his machinery, reading the car like a second skin, flowing through corners without forcing it. The SF25 doesn't dance. It demands sharp inputs, late braking, and sudden throttle bursts. That suits Charles Leclerc's aggressive style perfectly, but it forces Hamilton to drive against his instincts, compensating rather than commanding. The data is sobering. Extra brake pressure to tame the rear, hesitations on the throttle where there's usually seamless flow, constant micro-adjustments on the steering wheel. Each lap becomes a battle between Hamilton's instincts and the car's character. It's not that he can't drive it. His storming climb from 10th to 6th at Monza proves he can. But he can't yet unlock the natural brilliance that made him unbeatable in his prime. For Ferrari, this mismatch won't win championships. It might keep them in the top 6, but it will never deliver titles. With the 2026 rules offering a blank sheet of paper, Ferrari must recalibrate their philosophy, build a car that unleashes Hamilton rather than blunts him. If they succeed, they could transform their future. If they fail, they risk wasting one of the greatest drivers in history. The engineers know they have a rare opportunity to blend Leclerc's sharpness with Hamilton's flow and create a machine capable of fighting for championships on equal terms. Hamilton himself has described this season as volatile. At Spa and Hungary, he was lapped and humiliated, questioning where he stood in this new chapter. At Monza, he fought George Russell on merit and ran close to Leclerc, proving the fire is still there. He's chosen to embrace the roller coaster, rather than let it break him, speaking of living in the present and savoring every moment with Ferrari. Even if the car hasn't yet felt like home, the people have. He has talked openly about the goosebumps he felt leaving the Monza garage, the roar of the Tifosi following him through every corner, the endless sea of red flags across the grandstands. A man cheered at Silverstone and revered worldwide. He says this is different devotion. That connection has started to fill the void left by the alien machine beneath him. Ferrari boss Frederick Vasseur has noticed it too. He's praised Hamilton's resilience, his quick bond with the fans, and set a clear target. A podium in 2025 is expected, not optional. The Tifosi will accept nothing less, and Ferrari's reputation depends on it. Vasseur also knows that encouragement alone won't cut it. Ferrari must stop hesitating on strategy like the missed undercut on Russell, and must stop expecting Hamilton to adapt endlessly to a car that wasn't built for him. Podiums will come when the car allows him to drive his natural style. Ironically, Ferrari's shocking discovery could be the very thing that saves them. By identifying the alien problem now, they have time to prevent it from poisoning the future. For Hamilton, the revelation is bittersweet. He knows he's not yet showing his best, but also knows that even in this compromised state, he's still fighting, still climbing, still proving himself. For Ferrari, the question is whether they'll seize this moment of clarity or let it slip away. Because if Hamilton is already capable of top 6 finishes in a car that feels alien, imagine what he could do in a Ferrari that finally feels like home. Toto Wolff's verdict carries so much weight because he's not just any critic. He's the man who stood beside Hamilton for every win, every title, every defining moment at Mercedes. For him to suggest that nobody may even remember this Ferrari chapter, that it could become a forgotten footnote, is extraordinary. It raises uncomfortable questions. Did Hamilton make the right choice? Can Ferrari deliver on their promises? Could his legacy be damaged rather than enhanced by this gamble? At Mercedes, even with frustrations, Hamilton's achievements were secure. Every victory, every title was etched in silver. At Ferrari, he has passion. He has devotion from fans that leave him speechless. But he doesn't yet have results. Wolff's comments aren't an attack. They're a challenge. He knows better than anyone what Hamilton can do when everything clicks. And by speaking so bluntly, he's essentially dared him to prove that leaving Brackley for Maranello was not a mistake. Ferrari are at a crossroads. Their 2026 project is exposed by key staff departures, yet they hold in their hands one of the most gifted drivers in history. Hamilton has made it clear, adaptation may get him points, but only a car built to his style will get him podiums and titles. The Tifosi still adore him. Their passion is a monster, and it has already proved its power. But adoration doesn't fill trophy cabinets. Ferrari must act now, reshape their philosophy, rebuild their structure, and give Hamilton a car that dances. Because if they can, the payoff could be spectacular. A Ferrari that feels like an extension of Hamilton, a team reborn under his leadership, and perhaps the end of a drought that has lasted far too long. And if they can't, then Wolff's words will echo as a prophecy, a legend stranded in the wrong car at the wrong time. Lewis Hamilton's move from Mercedes to Ferrari was one of the boldest decisions in modern Formula One. It promised glory, renewal, and legacy. So far, it has delivered frustration, adaptation, and questions. But the story isn't over. Ferrari's engineers have finally identified why he's struggling. They have a chance to fix it. And Hamilton, even in a car that feels alien, is still fighting. What happens next could define not just his career, but Ferrari's future. Will this be remembered as a masterstroke or a misstep? Only time and the 2026 car will tell. The next chapter of Hamilton's Ferrari adventure could yet become the story that cements his status as the greatest of his generation, or the cautionary tale of a champion who gambled and lost. So stay tuned, because the day Lewis Hamilton feels truly at one with his Ferrari could change Formula One forever. When that moment comes, the roar of the Tifosi will echo through history. If you love this deep dive, hit like, share it with fellow fans, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.